the 12 Cylindri, the 250 GTO. Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Six Cars. Even more car week content. It just keeps on going even after the week has officially completed. Behind me is sort of an annual tradition here for the channel. I always try to give this its own separate video because there's so much going on here. It's the very famous Ferrari display here at the Pebble Beach Concours Delegates, where you will see some of the most incredible, historical, and important Ferraris ever built, all the way from their earliest race cars up to their newest flagship V12s. We're gonna tour the whole thing, see it all in detail. It's gonna be a blast, guys. So of course, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, and share. We're gonna start right at the beginning of this whole paddock area and go all the way to the end and see every cool car we can. So here it is, guys, at the Ferrari, I guess we'll call it the display here at Pebble Beach. This would be the main star of the show because it is the brand new flagship 12-cylinder Grand Tourer, the 12 Cylindri. I think it's pretty easy for you guys to tell what this is really paying homage to with its design, especially with this black strip that goes right across the front. It's obviously paying homage to the original 365 GTB4 Daytona with that fastback design and the incredibly long hood to fit that V12 inside of it. So what's interesting as well is they've debuted the coupe and the convertible at the exact same time. Usually the Spider variant comes afterwards or a year after the coupe, but this time they've done both at once. So you get a side-by-side look at if you like the coupe or the detachable hardtop more. And personally, I would probably take the detachable hardtop in this scenario because it actually doesn't interfere with the lines too much. And I really like the spec on this. It's almost like a greenish silver with, I want to call it brownish gold interior and matching brake calipers. Looks really nice. And I guess we'll shift around to the back too and take a look at that. So here's a look at the back of the 12 Cylindri. Now you guys can kind of see what I was talking about with that fastback styling with the 365 Daytona. But now you can obviously see what I meant as well, where you take the detachable hardtop and it doesn't really interfere with the lines. That's why I really like this Spider variant. Also has active aero, I believe, at the back here. It's kind of hard to see, but apparently it does lift up towards where that little duckbill is at the bottom. But this is obviously a very important car for Ferrari. It's the replacement for the 812, where we've seen obviously their replacement for the Huracan unveiled here, as well as some big debuts at this year's Car Week. And I think the 12 Cylindri actually looks pretty damn good. But you guys can leave your comments on this down below and give me your opinions. So I guess we'll just go from the start here at the Ferrari lawn and make our way through, because I have to mention this is sort of an annual tradition for the channel to give this its own separate video, because there is just so many ridiculously cool Ferraris in this display. It's some of the most iconic collector Ferraris of all time. And look at this, you start off with the 575 Super America, of course, the detachable hardtop, extremely rare version of the V12 Grand Tour. It looks like there's a second one over here finished in blue. We have a couple of classic variants back here, the 500 Superfast from 1965, which has a great sort of swoop back styling, which is incredibly nice. And over here, look at this, 3 F60 Americas. I'm obviously getting around to the front of this so we can take a better look at them, because these are incredibly rare cars. So the F60 America, there's 10 in the world, all built for American customers. Now, what's really interesting with this, obviously it looks like it's based on the F12 chassis, but inside you do have these special seats that have the American stars and stripes running right through the center. And what is also interesting as well, you can see one half is red, the other half here is black. They're really good looking cars as well. They all come in different specs. This one obviously is very similar, but they do have slightly different striping. This one has red accents around the white stripe. You can still see the red and black contrasting seats with the American accents. And over here, we also have a yellow one finished with a blue stripe, which is really good looking. So as mentioned, there's 10 of these in the world, all built for the American market. So what you're looking at here is 30% of all the production of the F60 Americas. We also have some incredibly rare 275 GTB4 Spiders, the NART Spiders, which stands for the North American Racing Team. I think they were all commissioned for that North American Racing Team. Also incredibly rare. I can't remember exactly how many of these there are, but I believe one of them is valued around 15 million to 20 million US dollars. And once again, the fact that there is 2 of them sitting side by side is absolutely outrageous. And this sort of, I guess you want to call it faded yellow, is a really nice looking color you don't see on too many other Ferraris. And over here you have more classic silver on a red interior, which is just so good looking. And obviously it's based on the standard 275 GTB4, which already has great styling. The convertible also works really well too. Okay, obviously a few historic Ferrari racing cars here. The 250 Testarossa, which is a Le Mans winner, and one of the most iconic race cars, not just Ferraris, of all time. Absolutely beautiful and lovely design. Beside it though is probably the most famous of these classic Ferrari race cars, the 250 GTO. And what's wild about this Ferrari display is there's not one, there's actually two of them here in our presence. Now the blue and yellow one is incredibly bold design. I really like it actually. Obviously you can see a lot of guys with their modern Ferraris get this similar heritage stripe on their cars. Now you can see what it's paying homage to, and this one does have blue seats as well, which a lot of classic Ferrari race cars actually have that feature. And behind it we have silver with the blue, white, and red stripes. Now this particular car was actually the exact former most expensive car in the world. It's actually David McNeil, the CEO, the founder of WeatherTech Floor Mats, who bought this car. I think it was maybe like 10 years ago or something like that. It was a while back, but either way, former most expensive car in the world before it got trumped by the 300 SLR that was like 130 million or something absolutely crazy like that. But you can see there's so much history with this car. The design is absolutely gorgeous and looks so good. There's a very good reason why this car is worth so much money. I think the selling price was about 75 million US. So absolutely outrageous that there's two of these on the lawn at the exact same time. We have the 250 GT Berlinetta behind those two 250 GTOs as well. Another great looking classic Ferrari race car. This one is the NART North American Racing Team. So now you guys can see, as I mentioned before, with those two 275 convertibles, that is what NART stands for. So obviously a very famous collaboration between Ferrari and the North American Racing Team. And the 250 GT, I think this is the short wheelbase variant too, is definitely one of the best looking cars that they've ever raced. Speaking of which, look at that 333 SP from the late 90s, one of the most iconic Le Mans prototypes out there for sure. It raced in major races like 24 hours of Daytona, the 12 hours of Sebring as well. And the V12 in this is honestly one of the best sounding things you could ever hear in your life. I've been lucky enough to hear one of these racing around Daytona many years ago, and it's just ear shattering in the best way possible. And just the massive wing that hangs over the back is such a cool feature. Inside, obviously, bare bones. You got a steering wheel, a bit of roll assistance, and that is pretty much it. It's just such a lovely car. Once again, very special. We get to see this on the lawn. We have a great section of 812 Competizione as well as some tailor-made Ferraris over here as well. Now, I didn't see any 812 comps earlier this week, but they all of a sudden just started to pop up in big numbers, and there's quite a few here on the lawn. And I've mentioned a number of times now that this is probably one of my favorite modern like GT Ferraris. I think the 812 comp, they absolutely nailed it. It's such a massive improvement over the standard one too, and it's kind of reminds me of the feeling I got when they released the 599 GTO and how much of a massive jump forward that was for the design and just how good it looks with all of the extra aero parts too. So 812 comp is really cool. And beside it, this one's interesting. I think they auctioned this off a while back, but what you're looking at here is a very strange livery. What's cool about it is it's actually the original drawings of the 812 Competizione, the original sketches, and they've actually painted it right onto this car. So an extremely rare special edition, obviously one of one. Even the sketches run right through the seat as well, which are finished in yellow. All the gauges and the dials, everything also accented in yellow around the carbon fiber. It's a very bold design, obviously. I'm not sure what the final price was when it was sold. Obviously, much more than your standard 812 comp, though. And here we do have some tailor-made Ferraris back here, and they all sort of look to have a bit of an American theme because they are all red, white, and blue, just in different paint schemes. So this one obviously has baby blue with a nice blue and red stripe, red seats, and white accents in the interior. Here we have a more interesting one with blue. It's sort of a reverse of the last one beside it there. This one has white wheels, which I'm a huge sucker for. I think that looks great on almost any car. This one also has a bold white seats with red accents. Behind that, that's more of an American spec right there. Just a pretty classy at plain white with the blue and red stripe. And if you look in the interior, see if we can get around the lighting here, it's sort of similar to what is in the F60 America with those stars and stripes right there through the seat. Even the stitching is blue, white, and red. If you guys can see it through the light there, that is pretty remarkable. They're actually able to do that. I can only imagine that little detail, and that option cost a ton of money. And over here we also have a pair of 812s. Looks like the GTS is sort of painted like the American flag, white, blue, and red. And this one as well, just white with the blue stripes. Pretty classy, pretty simple, but it does work very nicely, I have to say, with a nice red interior with white accents. Right at the back here, we do have the detachable hardtop version of the 812 comp. This one is the 812 comp Aperta, so even rarer than just your standard coupe. We haven't seen too many of these around at Car Week. This one is absolutely lovely in a dark blue with all of the carbon fiber accents. And once again, this seems like a real theme here on this Ferrari display is two different colored seats. We've got red for the driver and black for the passenger. What's interesting is the red one has black stripes running through it, while the black one has red stripes running through it to sort of complement each other. But look at the back of that as well. Just so nice. And I love how they've pretty much kept the exact same lines, even with the detachable hardtop. It's a really nice car. There's a true American spec 812 comp there. Once again, the red, white, and blue. Well, technically, actually, this could be a French one as well. I'm just assuming American because we are, of course, in America. But it could be a French spec as well. I love how the stripe has run right across the top of the steering wheel as well. And the blue seats with the white accents. You see the white prancing horse there on the headrest and the white stitching. Absolutely lovely. Especially against this, I guess you call it satin silver paint. That looks very, very good. Here's another iconic Ferrari from the 250 series. Of course, we have the California Spider. Now, we just saw one of these sell back at the RM auction the other day for 15.5 million US dollars. Now, of course, that one was the original 250 California that debuted back at the Geneva Motor Show. So that's why it probably attracted a bit more money than usual. But either way, you look at an 8-figure car right in front of us here. So incredibly special to have that one. And in front of it, we have a nice traditional Daytona Spider. Now, a car that I think is just probably one of the nicest looking Ferraris ever designed. And you can obviously see now the front end how similar it is to that new 12 Cylindri and where Ferrari got the design inspiration from for their new car. And here are a pair of racing 250 California, so the Competizione spec. This one, once again, is part of the North American racing team. Absolutely just legendary status here on the line. It looks like these are matched. You got number 16 and number 17 as well. And of course, the competition models, the Ferrari race cars, are generally the most expensive of the bunch because there's just so much racing history with them. That is absolutely outrageous that there's two of them here. And beside that, look at this. We've got a 250 California again. This one's finished in gold though, and it has this remarkable hardtop too. I don't think I've ever seen a 250 California with the hardtop before, and the fact this one is painted in an incredibly unique gold is very, very special. That's all I can really say on that cream interior too. A classy spec for a very classy car. Look at that. That is amazing. Here's an SP3 Daytona, and I believe it's not one of the two we've already seen from this week because it does have a white stripe running through. I think the other two we saw had the blue stripes, but what's interesting as well, if you can see through to the steering wheel there, the stripe follows all the way through and changes to white and black on top of the carbon fiber, and the white stripe going through the seats. Once again, it's really nice to see the owners going all out with these specifications and just making sure that everything lines up from the front of the car all the way to the back. Even the interior is not left untouched. That is remarkable. Here's a remarkable trio of Ferrari race cars. So here we have the 412P. Now, to my knowledge, this was basically a different version of the 330P4 that was sold to privateer racing teams. It was much easier to manage and maintain than the 330P4 the factory teams were racing. So the 412P is essentially a pretty similar car to the 330P4 with some minor modifications for the private teams. But here are the actual 330P4s. Now, these should be pretty recognizable to most people, especially if you watch Ford versus Ferrari, because the 330P4 was one of the cars that was obviously Ford's main rival when they raced with the GT40, and obviously they triumphed over the 330P4, but this one is still incredibly iconic and one of Ferrari's best known race cars for all of the amazing battles they had on track. There's just so much history with them, and once again, the fact that there is two here on the lawn here for the Ferrari Pebble Beach display is pretty damn remarkable. That's all I can really say about that. Two different specifications rather, and it looks like there are some slight modifications on 24 over here. It's got these weird little intakes just over the front wheels there. And this one over here obviously does not have that. So you can see how they obviously changed some of the aero throughout the years and even throughout the season, as well as they need to make minor adjustments and change certain aspects of the car for better performance. But there we have it, two 330p4s and one 412p. And here's just a nice pair of 365 GTB4 Daytona coupes, because they are just so nice to look at. I'll never ever get tired of seeing these around, honestly. And especially over here, this, I can't really tell if it's like a very, very dark blue or a black, but either way, this spec really stood out to me, because you see these contrasting red seats just popping out of the windows here. It's just such a lovely looking car, and that fastback styling is what really gets it for me. I mean, this will never ever get old. Here's one that I've never seen before. It's a 342 America. Now, it stood out to me is it obviously does not look like most other Ferraris. It's got a very unique looking grille, incredibly strange, but when you actually see a badge on the side here, it all starts to make sense. So the V down here actually stands for Vignale. Now, most Ferraris were designed by Pininfarina, but back in the day, there were a few different models, well, quite a few actually, that were designed by another design house called Vignale. So that's why you'll see some cars that look much stranger than others. They have that V on the side. That means that they are incredibly special and very unique to most other Ferrari models. And this one is very nice because it also has a matching blue dashboard with the exterior of the car on white seats and blue trim running all throughout the leather. It's an absolutely beautiful example. Now, here's another version of that Vignale bodied Ferrari I showed you over there, though, the 340 America. This one obviously is the race version, painted in sort of what a style similar to French racing blue with matching blue wheels. Right-hand drive for that one, so that's nice. And this one is slightly different. It's the 340 Mexico. So to be honest with you, I'm not entirely certain what is different between the two. Obviously, design styling, yes, but why one is designated as the America and the Mexico? Perhaps this one raced in the Pan Americana or another classic race like that. But what's interesting with this one is these tiny little fins on the side, so a bit of extra aerodynamics on this car. And this one, even though it's a race car, looks like a real road car interior. Just added a fire extinguisher in there and basically tell the driver, well, best of luck if anything bad happens on the road. But that is just a lovely looking design. Now, here is a pair of Ferrari race cars that are honestly quite possibly the most important Ferraris of all time, because there's so much history and so much success involved with these cars. They're from 1949, so obviously some of the earliest Ferrari race cars, or just cars in general, ever built. And some of the ones that gave them some of their earliest successes in their history, they won the Mille Miglia with these 166 MMs, and obviously really put Ferrari on the map in the motorsport world, and also allowed them to build more road cars as well with all of their success in these major racing events. So the 166 MMs are incredibly important for the history of the Scuderia. And I mean, as you can see, things have changed quite a bit over time, because there's not a lot going on inside these cars. It's a pretty bare bones interior, but all you needed to be was fast back in these days. Doesn't matter what was in the inside, didn't really matter what the car looked like. As long as you're fast and you won races, that's all anybody cared about, and that's exactly what these cars did. Well, stuff is starting to pack up here at the Ferrari lawn. There goes one of the three F60 Americas, 10% of the total production driving by right there. Okay guys, that wraps up our grand tour of the Ferrari cavalcade, I'll call it, here at Pebble Beach. Once again, annual tradition to give this its own separate video, because the Ferrari display is always mega. Got Drive with Roy there too. I mean, what do you think of that? What do you think of the Ferrari display this year?
Not bad, not bad. A lot of older stuff, but again, it was a really, really good older stuff. We didn't get too many of the new hypercars, but again, you don't see this older stuff anywhere else other than here.
There we have it, guys. So once again, that is a wrap on today's video and even more Car Week content. So thanks as always for tuning in. If you didn't already at the start of the video, subscribe, like, comment, and share. We'll see you all next time on 6 Cars.